Hello and welcome to Just Do It, a Dewey Brothers podcast. This is season 6, episode 1. Eric, we did it. We're starting up a new season.
I'm scared. We did it somehow. We were 20 some odd in, and it was the card. I couldn't draw any more doodles on there. Who would have thought, Alex? 6 seasons of the Just Do It boys.
That's a lot of Just Do It boys. And guess what, everyone out there, all you listeners, we got a surprise guest on.
Surprise! Whoa! Ooh! I'm too spooked. I just got spooked. Ooh!
That's right, the weatherman's in the house. How's it going, weatherman?
Well, it could be better. We could have snow, but can't complain.
Right. Did you get the memo? We'll talk about it later.
Yes, I did get the memo.
Okay, cool. So you have a snow to share later in the pod?
What? Maybe, possibly, depends.
All right, great.
Well, Alex, we need to talk about what we're doing for season 6. Season 6 is a milestone. It's normally around the time when most shows start to decline in popularity and, of course, the quality. So what are we doing to keep this season fresh?
So first of all, we're phoning it in. We've basically given up. So I'm on a phone right now. Our audio quality has gone straight out the dumpster. I'm going to mix them back in, so who knows who's in what ear. It's going to be horrible.
Sir, I beg to differ. This is top quality stuff.
We're pushing this one out. No edits, Eric. Not even no edits at all.
I would never edit anything. That's why I'm going to say some crazy stuff this podcast, Alex.
Oh, no.
Don't make me turn this podcast around, young man.
Well, Mr. Old Man, have I got something for you? And it's the first thing that we do in season 6, which is, of course, talk about the new.
All right, Eric, what is new in the news?
I'm talking about the whole man.
The what now?
The whole man, Alex. Have you not heard about the whole man?
I haven't heard about the whole man, Eric. You got to fill me in. I assume you're reporting from on the scene, which I am. That's right. I'm reporting live from the scene of Larry Niven's bedroom, where he has just told me to shove it up my explicit. I'm not going there, Alex. We are at the news. So, we're talking about The Whole Man, one of Larry's great works. It's a science fiction short story, and it was published in Analog way back in 1974, but it's only reaching the real creme de la creme. Like, it's just so relevant nowadays. That's why I have broken into Larry Niven's house, and I am trying to get an interview, and he is throwing things at me. It's getting a little ugly. Apparently, Larry Niven does not like to be woken up at whenever this podcast is uploaded o'clock. And on Thursday morning or afternoon.
On Thursday morning. He is not a Thursday morning kind of guy.
Eric, well, now that it has been almost 50 years after the broadcast was shot out to a star 25 light years away, reflected around the Einstein curvature of the gravity well, and was broadcast back onto our home TVs for the first time, why is the entire United States encapsulated by The Whole Man?
Well, it won the Hugo Award for the best short story in 1975, and it's called The Whole Man. So I don't know if you've been keeping up with the current events, but we got a lot of holes and we got a lot of men. And it encapsulates what's going on in 2021, soon to be 2022, with Biden's Build It Back Better spring. What did we call that?
By Uncle Biden's Build It Back Better spring?
Yeah, well, I mean, right now we're in the what's the wiggle
the wiggle winner.
Well, yeah. So the wild wiggle winner is gonna just destroy everyone and everything, just like what happens in The Whole Man. I don't want to spoil too much, but the Wiggles are coming, and they're the whole men in this instance.
So Jonah, as you know, this season we're trying to have as few references to past shows as possible in order to get the new audience up to speed, right? So what is your favorite whole and or man, and how does it pertain to 2022/2021?
Well, holes. They're round. Obviously, I'm a big fan of Bumper. the superior dwarf from The Hobbit, because he's also round, and some would say a hole, because he eats so much. And I partially wasn't paying attention to your question, so I'm just rambling at this point. But you know,
No. You answered it perfectly.
perfect.
Honestly, he asked you what your favorite hole or man was, and you answered with the perfect hole man. So
Yeah, I mean, he is a dwarf, so he's probably more man than most of us. Because
he also
dwarves
likes holes. I mean, they live underground, right?
deep underground. Some would say in the heart of the mountain.
Well, I went to the heart of the mountain once. The heart of the mountain fights back, so watch out.
Yeah, watch out for that one.
It's a little fiery down there, and some balrogy, some would say.
Wait, Eric, is that the surprise twist to the story? The Hugo winning story, The Hole Man, is that there's a Balrog in the hole?
Did they dig too deep?
No, the hole refers to a hole of a certain color that I won't spoil it. I won't spoil it, but it's there's a colored hole and no one knows if it's gonna blow everything up or not. It also has to do with aliens.
Is there like our man with the legend Sean McConkey said, if it's brown you gotta go down?
Well, if it is brown, you have to go down. It's not a brown hole. I wish.
Okay.
Wait,
right.
Nope. That's right. Larry Niven has now just screamed at me and it says, "No brown hole," and he's beating me over the head with his Hugo Award. So,
all right, Eric,
I'm gonna have to get out of here.
We gotta move into our new segment. The next segment of this podcast we're resurrecting this one, Eric, but it's going to be clean, fresh, and with ample amounts of snow this week. We're bringing back original poems.
That's right. Us Dewey boys. 1, beautiful poets. 2, artful crafters. 3, the best dang wordsmiths on this side of the Mississippi.
I've personally heard praise ranging from "please stop talking" to "how did you get in here?" So I think we're ready for that.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I like that. So, Alex, obviously this week we got some snow last week. We're big fans of snow here on the Just Do It podcast. So that's why we're going to have some beautiful poems about snow. Snowums, if you will, right?
Oh, absolutely. There are going to be some sweet snowums this week. And Weatherman, we're going to let you go last so that you can come up with some snowum before get the old brain going, get some free flow action.
Free flow action, you say?
Yeah.
It's got to be free because I'm not paying you for it, okay?
All right.
Alex, I think you should go first.
That's only fair. You went first last week. So my poem is called "Where's All That Snow At?" And that's an at sign. Just want to make the audience at home clear about it.
Are we in near the Young Rappers Projects with that's pretty spooky right there.
No, there's no flow here at all. Definitely not. So without further ado, "Where's All That Snow At?" An original Dewey Brothers poem. I just want to know, where'd all the snow go? Down here in Boston, it's been a no-show. Did I move someplace that's warmer than home? Or is global warming from all that chrome? It's a potent greenhouse gas, so we know it can't last, even if it's fun to drive shining tractors real fast. So here's to us hoping, which'll help with the coping. There's a few more years of rad gnarly sloping.
Ooh.
That's it. That's the poem right there.
I mean, you got the Pit My Tractor boys having the time of their lives, but ultimately looking out for what we love most, which is...
God damn. Now, this sounds like a business opportunity for the Pimp My Tractor boys. They should start working on a anti-chrome.
And my poem is called "Snowy Scenes with the Dewey Bros."
Oh, all right, I like it, eh?
All right, here we go. Picture a beautiful winter night. It's enough to make me fill with delight. Tranquil scenery all around. Smiles are bound. Cool winds a blowing. Thanks, Santa Claus, it's snowing. Just Do It is a non-denominational pod. So no mentions of a god, lowercase g, of course. A cast for all faiths, even ones that believe in powerful rates. We believe everyone should be respected. However, many tithes must be collected. Potting is hard and it can't be free, so listening comes with a fee. Our sponsors help with our greed, and to it we will never cede. Big rosé and homegrown hops, give us your sweet, sweet schlopps. Schlopps is a word for monetary assets, in case you were too dumb smoking your cigarettes.
Wow, that's a pretty baller poem, Eric. My favorite part is how you corrected us and insulted the listener, and it was still in the rhyme scheme.
This thing is, I really think it encapsulates all that snow is about, you know? And more importantly, how we feel on this podcast.
Yeah, you deviated pretty quickly from the topic of snow, by which I mean you stayed true to snow the entire time, which is best enjoyed with a large glass of rosé.
You know it. I mean, I thought of this beautiful rhyme scheme by drinking one of Homegrown Hops' new lovely beverages. And that's how I was able to come up with such sweet rhyme schemes.
Ooh, what is this new beverage you talk about?
It's an Oktoberfest. It's real good.
Ooh,
Well, it's actually their brand new Decemberfest.
Ooh, sauce.
It's extra tasty.
What else was I going to say about this poem other than that it was totally bomb and that I'm a poet that belongs in the records? I was going to say, they call me M. Night Shyamalan. Too bad that name's already taken because they actually call me M. Day Shyamalan because of all those wacky twists I put in my poems.
Oh, you're M. Day Shyamalan because of all the totally expected twists.
Exactly.
Do you fight Night Shyamalan?
Well, no, the Night Shyamalan, he's hard. He's hard to come by. That Night Shaman always is powering him up, but I got the power of the Day Shaman, so we're good, doing well.
Would you say, Dayman,
fighter of the Night Shyamalan, Yep, that's the one.
Actually, with regard to the man and the hole from earlier,
yes,
you do have to pay the troll toll if you want the hole.
If you want the man's hole, I have heard that. You gotta pay the troll toll if you want the hole.
Gotta pay the troll toll. I mean, it really sounds like you're saying hole, and I'm pretty sure you're supposed to be saying soul, but whatever.
Man.
Well, I mean, we aren't talking about the soul man. We aren't talking about some blues. We're talking about my boy Larry Niven. Whoa. Sorry, Larry. Take it easy there. Oh, ow. Man, he's still throwing stuff at me. But we're talking about his whole man.
Have you tried reporting from finishing this podcast from off his lawn?
No. Why would I do that? This pod is way too important.
Okay, cool. Weatherman, do you have any snow-related poems to add, or should we just lay on you some hard-hitting questions from the internet?
I feel like I could whip up something real short here.
All right, let's hear it.
I caught snowflakes on my fingertips, but they melted to my dismay.
Oh my gosh, he's
short and sweet.
Alex, that was too good. He knows when to quit. Like,
you got to bow to the master.
You reel him in with your 10-pound fishing pole. And then he cut the line and surprise!
Oh my god, my heart can't take it, Alex. My heart can't take his surprise and his witty word usages.
All right, well, we need to know, we don't need to know who won, but if you want to comment on our poems, please do so down below. Eric, it is that time of the podcast that everyone tells us, and by everyone, I mean no one, because they don't actually even write in, except for two guys. They keep writing in week after week, and they got questions for us, Eric. It's questions from the internet.
Oh my god. Questions? Still in season 6, we still have to answer people's questions. Haven't we taught them enough?
They just keep writing in. All right, Weatherman, here's the question of the week. This one was posted on our Thanksgiving episode. It starts out pretty strong here with, "Hello, Dewey Bros. Seth and I were great neighbors up until he invited me over for Thanksgiving." Uh-oh.
Oh, no, not. Is this Steve? Is this coming from Steve, Alex?
Of course it's coming from Steve, Eric.
I do love our fans, but Seth and Steve, they got a lot to figure out.
Well, I mean, they're great neighbors. So let's see here. Seth and I were great neighbors up until he invited me over for Thanksgiving. First, I had to compliment his mead horns and cornucopia, which were dashing. But we got into a friendly disagreement about how long you're allowed to stay in the Thanksgiving spirit. Now, I don't mean the ghost of old Columbo. Before it gets awkward, I think that the cornucopia needs to be tucked away by December 1st, but Seth insists on keeping it on the table for all 12 days of Thanksgiving. I hope you guys can help a truly distraught neighbor, Steve.
I mean, I gotta say, it's a hard life.
It's obviously, as a non-denominational podcast, a matter of choice if you observe all 12 days of Thanksgiving or just Thanksgiving and Thanksgiving Eve, right?
Well, my real question here is, did the party crasher bring something to outweigh his drinking habits? Because really, you can only show up if there's still mead in the mead horns.
That is true. That is a
If you run out of
Thanksgiving
mead,
special.
if you run out of mead, you're no longer welcome at that point. You're just a bad guest for not bringing more mead.
That's fair. So
That's true.
maybe this fight or this disagreement could have been solved had there been enough mead. Although maybe Steve wasn't a good boy this year, and Cristo Colombo did not
Didn't deliver.
award him. Like, oh well, he probably delivered, but you know that Cristo Colombo sometimes siphons a little off depending on how good you are.
Well, Eric, I think Weatherman is onto something. It is probably the easiest way to solve this disagreement is just make sure those meat horns are topped off when you get, next year at your next Thanksgiving feast, right?
Gotta keep those bad boys topped.
It still comes down to the question, Eric. How about we just provide our recommendations? When do we, the Just Do It Dewey Brothers podcast, take down our Thanksgiving decorations?
Well, it's very complicated. I prefer to have mine down by December 1st.
Exactly.
However,
'cause,
I will say though, because this year Hanukkah came early. Hanukkah was at the end of November, and as a non-denominational podcast, I wouldn't want my Thanksgiving stuff hung up during Hanukkah.
That's true. That's why I'm always for 1st of December. You got to take it all down. I understand it's the season, right? And I'm not saying you can't enjoy an apple pie or a pumpkin pie even into December, right?
Or a mashed potato pie. Hear me out.
That's fair.
Or a cranberry sauce pie.
Cranberry sauce pies, they hit different in December. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just the timing's right, but yeah, big cranberry sauce pie guy.
But you got to put the stuff away because otherwise, it gets tacky and
it starts to become too consumerism. You sort of forget what it means to be a Cristo Colombo stan.
I mean, Eric, everyone's allowed to observe the great holiday of Thanksgiving. Okay. Everyone needs to set their meat horns out on their windowsill and put their cornucopia on the kitchen counter.
Well, it's got to be out, but Alex, there's also a thing though. The cornucopia, if it's still full or if it's still brimming with goods, you can't put it away yet.
That's why you got to get through it all. You hope that Thanksgiving still has a couple extra days after it, but not 12 whole days. That's too many days.
Well, 12 whole days. Traditionally you're supposed to observe the 12 days, but it's just become so corporate. It's just like
exactly.
I don't. They've come in and sort of bastardized what Cristo Colombo really stood for, which was of course pillaging and killing. And exploiting, if you will. But I feel like December 1st is a good cutoff. You should have it down by December 1st. So whichever side Steve or Seth are on, just get them out. It's December 1st. However, it was Hanukkah. It was Hanukkah, and I personally, I'm a big fan of Hanukkah. Not as much as Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa, now that is a festival of lights. Now, you hear me with that one.
I mean, with the beeswax, I'm a sucker for beeswax, Eric.
Beeswax, great. I mean, that's what it's all about. Umani on Kwanzaa, you know, coming together because that I believe is the fourth day of Kwanzaa. Love me some Kwanzaa. And so, when we're talking about Kwanzaa, I
No,
don't
Eric, we
want
got to wrap this
anyone.
podcast up. I'm going to have to cut you off here. We got more episodes. We can cover that later. Weatherman, what is your final regard? What do you recommend to Steve here about either confronting or not confronting his neighbor Seth on how long his tacky Thanksgiving Day decorations are up for?
Just move on, man. It's gonna happen next year. Like, your guest didn't bring you good mead. Your guest didn't bring enough mead. So now you can't keep celebrating Thanksgiving KwanzaaCon. You gotta just move on. Plus, it's getting time to offer some sacrifices to the snow god, so.
Preach. I expect everyone to be shaving their beards and stuff and burning it to the great snow gods.
I already did.
Non-denominationally, of course.
No, that is some top tier advice. Steve, just forget about it for this year. Look the other way. Maybe raise your fence a little higher so you don't have to look at it.
Oh,
and
yeah,
then
yeah,
lower
yeah.
your fence back down in the great snowy season. And next year, make sure that meat horns are topped off and then gently suggest that he buys less tacky Thanksgiving Day stuff. It's not really about the commercialism. It's about the exploitation of the native population and resources.
Amen to that.
And, like, nothing's more threatening than just tossing some turkey heads on spikes. That'll really keep people away, too. If you really just want to stop celebrating.
All right. Let's thank our sponsors. Wow, Eric, this podcast wouldn't be possible without snow. It's what inspired our Snowums. Go get your book of Snowums wherever libraries store the Snowums.
This podcast is brought to you by Chatoda Hot Boys. Get your calendars soon.
I believe, do people have to be making orders for those, or is it sort of a first come, first serve sort of thing?
Put it in the comments.
Yeah, put it in the comments. We'll hear you out.
I would have to thank none other than Larry Niven. He's still throwing stuff at me. Actually, I would like to thank Larry Niven's shoes. They're beautiful things to get people to shoo off your lawn and quite effective, if you will.
This podcast is only possible with generous support from Loft House Cookies. They're soft and delicious and made in a factory that is peanut and tree nut friendly and also food friendly in that there's no real food in these cookies except bioengineered ingredients, says so on the packaging.
And sawdust.
That's yeah.
I think it's just petroleum product, but boy, is it tasty.
Let's see. I would have to thank Alex.
Yeah.
They aren't happy with us.
Who's not happy?
The Big Rose. They're pulling their sponsor.
What? Dude, we're gonna be bankrupt for that one. How am I supposed to afford my golden podcasting microphone?
They said my poem was too non-denominational, and we have to only support the religions that Big Rose supports.
That's not good. We'll have to work it out with them. This podcast tentatively sponsored by Big Rose.
We still love you, Big Rose, and that's why this podcast gets released at some time, and why we think everyone should be drinking rosé with this podcast.
If you don't have time to go to the store and pick up Big Rosé, just make it yourself at home with homegrown hops. As always, a constant sponsor. Never in any fear. Homegrown hops.
That wraps it up, Alex.
Absolutely. Jonah, any shout-outs before we go?
No, I did my one plug-in.
Yeah, Alex, I gotta say, season 6, who knows what's gonna happen.
Wild and crazy.
We gotta thank the wonderful weatherman. It's always a pleasure when he stops by.
I'm here all the time.
Thanks for stopping by, Weatherman. We appreciate it.
I got you. Thanks for having me around.
All right. This has been Just Do It, a Dewey Brothers podcast, season 6, episode 1. I'm Alex.
I'm Eric.
I'm Jonah.
And for the love of God, man,
Just send it.
Yeah, I'll edit that ending to make it extra crisp.
All right.
I mean, there's no editing. No editing here. None at all.
We're raw dogging this podcast. Got him.